Okay, so next we're going to talk a little bit about some styling issues and shortcodes in your editor when we're talking about adding a page or a post. Earlier, again, here I'm in my dashboard again. Earlier I mentioned that creating a post or a page is pretty much as simple as like using something like Microsoft Word. So I'm just going to create a page here. I'm going to click Add New. There's one, I don't want to say one, but there's an exception to what I said that is in styling an HTML document. One of the things that is different than Microsoft Word is that when you're building a Word document, you want it to look right on a piece of paper, right? But this website is designed to be responsive, which is that it'll work well with mobile devices and things like that. So if you look at the front page, for example, you'll see that as the screen resizes, as I move my screen over, you see that images get smaller and they move a little bit, and the navigation changes, and all that sort of stuff. And this is sort of optimized for mobile devices, right? So that you can use this basically on any device, whether it's a phone, a tablet, a computer, whatever the case is, and it'll move itself around. It's called responsive design. It means the design responds to the width of the screen that you're looking at it on. And we're building these things so that they're hyper compliant with all this stuff, right? So that it works really well on anything that you're going to view it on, basically. So that does require, when we're designing a page or a post, that we design it in the way it wants it to be done, right? And there's inside this particular theme, there's something called shortcodes that are going to make all that pretty easy for you. And I'll show you a few examples of that quickly now. Let's say I'm going to create a page. Again, I went over to my page navigation and I clicked add a new page. Let's give it a title, short code test. And basically what this is there are two different places that I have shortcodes in this current installation. In some cases they may be slightly different than this. But in this particular theme, there is this green plus in your editor, your TinyMCE editor. And if you click that green plus, you'll see an entire list of shortcodes that are built into the framework, into the theme that we're using for this particular website. And they're mostly self-explanatory. These homepage layouts might be a little confusing because they you have to know what they look like, I guess, and I'll show you a shortcut for that. But if you look at this, you've got 3 columns plus images, 4 columns plus images. You have a home page with a video on the left. You have a home page with a video on the right. And then as you scroll down, you have columns. So this would be a 2-column layout, a 3-column layout, a 4-column layout, all the way up to 6 columns. And then, 1/4 and 3/4 columns. So it would be a narrow column on the left and a wide column on the right, etc. Here you have columns with image frames. And then you have all sorts of shortcodes in here. So let me show you what these look like. I'm going to go to the name of the theme that's installed in this particular installation is called Karma theme. It's called the Karma theme. Yours may be different, but you'll just search for it. And I'm just gonna look up Karma theme and theme forest, and then I'm gonna go to the live preview. You'll find the theme. It's all over the place on the internet. So this will give you a good sense of what can be done with this theme as well. So you'll see that this has a big slider across the front. That's one of the options that we have in the theme. We can create sliders, and this up here in the navigation up here, you see shortcodes, and this shows you what all the shortcodes do. Right? What kind of graphical look and feel all the shortcodes will give you. This will show you the different. Whoops, I think I clicked something. This will show you the different page layouts that you have available to you, the different sliders that you have, all sorts of different features, right? So I'm just going to go to shortcodes. I'm going to click that and see what that brings me back here. Okay, here it is. Okay, so here are all the shortcodes that we have available to us. We have button shortcodes that, we have small, medium, and large buttons of all these different colors. These are all designed specifically to match the theme colors. we have buttons with icons. So you have a cloud button, a Facebook button. You have all these buttons with little icons, 360 of them. Call out boxes, columns, image frames. The image frames one is kind of cool. There are a few different frames that you can set up that will wrap your images. You've seen these on your home pages, I'm sure. These little frames, your picture goes right inside there. So pricing tables, I can't imagine you having a reason to want to do pricing tables, but it's just an example, right? So all these shortcodes, columns is a very common one. Like if you wanted to do, half and a half column, or a third, a third. Let's see, 3/4 and then a quarter, right? That type of thing. 2/3 and a third. You get the idea, right? So when these are the functions that the shortcodes bring to the table. So let's say, for example, and for all intents and purposes, for all of this stuff, you're going to stay in the visual editor. So let's say I had a bunch of this content that let's get some content again here. And let's say that I had this content, but I wanted this content to be 2 columns, just as an example. So let's say I wanted a headline, and I'm going to make that headline an H1 headline. And then let's say all the content under that, let's say all the content starting here, I want to be in 2 columns, right? Well, what you do is you insert a shortcode, and then you just kind of learn how to speak shortcode, right? Shortcodes are basically in square brackets. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to click that little green plus, I'm going to click insert a shortcode, select a shortcode, and let's do 2 columns. I'm just going to click that, and then click insert. And you see what you have here is you have see the square brackets are encapsulating the shortcode. You have 1/2, and then anytime you see a / in front of a tag or in front of a command, it means the end of that command, right? So this is telling you 1/2, this is telling you 1/2, end of 1/2, and this is telling you 1/2 last, meaning the second half of the page, and this is telling you the end of the second half of the page. So let's say I wanted this paragraph. I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to hit Control X and cut it. And then I'm going to paste it right between this 1/2 and end 1/2 shortcode, right? And then I'm going to take this paragraph and I'm going to put it right here in between the 1/2 last and end 1/2 last. Does that make sense? So if I'm reading this the way the computer is going to read it, it's going to say, okay, here's your headline, here's a paragraph, and there's no special classification of that. Then it's going to read this shortcode and say, okay, this is going to go on half of the screen, show me this content. This is the end of that comment. On the other half of the screen, show me this content. Then I'm finished with that, right? So let's just do that. Let's save that as a draft so that I can just show you how it renders. Okay, so now it's loaded. I'm just gonna click the let's do this preview button. I'm gonna click preview in a new window. So here's how it looks. Here's my headline, here's my full width, and here's my 2 columns, right? Column 1, column 2. And again, this is your 1/2 column, and this is the last 1/2, right? So this is an interesting set of functionality that you have. Now you don't need to go learn HTML or JavaScript or any of that stuff, right? You just learn shortcodes, and the shortcodes are mostly just English translations for how code looks, right? Again, just keep in mind as a general rule, anytime you see these square brackets, this is going to be a shortcode. And then when you see the end square bracket, that means that shortcode is now ending. Of course, I still cannot type, right? So this will be the content inside the shortcode, right? So that's basically how it works. And once you get kind of comfortable with that, there's a lot of flexibility and functionality. Again, all of these features that we saw in the preview of the theme are accessible through shortcodes. So let's do a couple of examples. Let's say we want a button. Let's say right after this paragraph, inside still the 1/2, let's say I want to put a button right under this paragraph. Not both, but under this paragraph right here. I could put it wherever I want, right? But let's say I want to put it right there. So I'm going to go, here's that content. I'm just going to make a little space here. And then I'm just going to click my little mouse. And then I'm going to go to that green shortcode button again, this one. And I'm going to drop those shortcodes down. And it's going to say, let's see here. Buttons. Let's say I want a black button. Hit insert. So here's my button shortcode. Now again, this is slightly more complicated because it's a button, but it's English, right? So here's the button URL, meaning when I click the button, where do I want to go? Let's say I want to go to Google. I don't know why I want to do that, but I'm just going to put in button URL equals google.com, right? Target equals, and then inside the quotation marks, that's where you want to put your variables. You don't have to fill in all these variables. You only have to fill in the ones that you want to. So I could stop right here at Google if I wanted. In fact, let's do that. I'm going to stop right here at Google, and this says content goes here. You'll see what that means. I'm going to update that. Save the draft. Give that a second, and I'm going to refresh my page. Now you see I've got that button, and content goes here is now the text on the button. That's just how it, because that's what I defined in the other side. If I click it, I go to google.com, right? So that's how you just create a quick button. And now, obviously content goes here. That doesn't help me much. So I'm just going to put in there, you see that's a shortcode, right? You see that I've got that square bracket. The beginning of the shortcode is button. The end of it is end button, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and put in some content that makes sense. So how about something like go to Google. Obviously that would normally be a page, right? Now under target, you can set that if you want. If you put underscore blank, that will open it in a blank page, a blank tab or whatever. Most of the time you won't need to do that. Size equals small, style equals black, and then if you want to put an icon in it, you can put an icon in it as we saw in the other samples. But for right now, you get the idea. So there's small, medium, and large. You can change that. You can do whatever you want, right? So that's basically a quick tutorial on how to add a button, how to add columns. And then as you look around through these shortcodes, you're going to see that there's a lot of really cool stuff, like a lot of cool functionality that you can do. Let's do columns with frames here. No, let's do this. Let's do testimonial slider. Insert. So here's your testimonial wrap, right? Here's the beginning of the testimonial wrap. Here's the end of it. Right, so I'm just going to make some extra space here so you can decipher that more easily. And then there are 3 testimonial sliders here. Here's where your content goes. Testimonial copy here. And then here's the client name. So you just put in client name, right? So happy student here. And then again, you can do that on all 3 of them, but for now I'm going to do that and save the draft. Let's see what that gives us in just a second here. Okay, this gives us that content, that testimonial slider, and you see there's 3 items here because there were 3 items in my shortcode 1, 2, 3. So I've got testimonial slider 1, 2 I don't have any content in, 3 I don't have any content in, but you get the idea, right? And on this particular website, I'm using the content slider, the testimonial slider on many of the pages. You see down here I have 6, 9, I don't know 9 of them or so. And it just automatically cycles through all those every few seconds, right? So again, that's just a quick tutorial on shortcodes and design, how you can use those shortcodes for design features. And I also have, in most of these sites, there's a plugin called Ultimate Shortcodes that gives you more additional shortcode functionality. So as you get comfortable with these shortcodes, you may then also want to check out this. These are just different shortcodes to give you easily embeddable videos, YouTube videos, Vimeo, carousels, subpages, media galleries, all sorts of different things. But it's just additional functionality should you want to use it. But it's pretty useful stuff. So that's Shortcodes 101. If you have any questions about this, leave them below, and we'll accomplish it there. Thanks so much.